And the White House wants to avoid another Boston bombing, so it's warning parents, watch your children for warning signs they might be radicalized, like these two. But they never mention the word Islam, which is curious.
But first,
Thanks, Ainsley. Quarter before the top of the hour. It didn't take long after the Boston bombings 1 year ago today to realize the two prime suspects were motivated by radical Islam. They went through a bizarre transformation right in front of their friends and their family members. It's a transformation the Obama administration fears could happen to any American child. And on the 1 year anniversary of that gruesome attack in Boston, it's warning parents to keep an eye on their kids. But there's something that's missing from their warning. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser is the founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy and the author of the book, A Battle for the Soul of Islam. He joins us today from Phoenix. Good morning to you, Dr. Jasser.
Good morning, Steve. It's great to be with you.
It's great to have you as well. So this White House official was out there and talking about, hey, parents, make sure that if your kids start acting weird, they're not becoming radicalized. But there's something they left out of the narrative that day at the White House, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how obvious and glaring the absence of an issue of radicalization of jihadism, the ideology of radical Islam. It doesn't happen overnight. These radicals like Nidal Hasan and the Tsarnaev brothers don't just simply poof spontaneously out of nowhere become militants. And, you know, Monaco, the Homeland Security rep for the White House, was at this Kennedy School event. And the cognitive dissonance was that she was flanked by two leading Muslim groups. One is the Muslim Public Affairs Council, and talking about, she was talking about how parents need to be aware if they go abroad into foreign countries, like Dagestan or Syria or other places where they can be radicalized. But yet they never mentioned jihad.
Sure.
They never mentioned the fact that there's a continuum of radicalization. And we see this sort of a process where they were talking about violent extremism. Well, listen, us Muslims that are doing reform work are still trying to figure out what is violent extremism. That could be anything from gang violence to anything. And the only thing we can fix, there's dissonance there because they're talking about Muslims, they're talking about Islamism, but yet they don't have the courage to name it. And you're not going to have a policy that way. You can't have national security by PR, and it's a complete disaster. And those of us who are doing reform work that realize that it's Muslims that can fix this are left on the margins, while the apologists that are in denial and want to put obstacles in our counterterrorism work in this country are working with the White House, preventing the work that needs to be done.
And the message from the White House, Dr. Jasser, is, hey, parents, your kids might become radicalized, so you better keep an eye out. They don't mention religion, which is a missing part, as you said. But the other thing with the Tsarnaev brothers, mom was in on it. So it's not like she's going to go ahead and narc on her kids, because she was in on it as well. One other interesting thing is apparently the organization CARE wants taxpayer money for protection for mosques. You think that's across the line?
Well, I mean, you know, listen, mosques are at more risk than they were after 9/11. There's no doubt. But here's an organization that has posters that say, build a wall of resistance against the FBI. And now they're demanding more funds. And meanwhile, you know, still the religious institutions that are more affected are synagogues, Sikh temples, as we've seen in the past year or two. So we need to be less hypocritical as Muslim communities and more open to the fact that, you know, it's not only to protect our mosques as victims, but we need to lead. You remember the Tsarnaev brothers stood up in a mosque and screamed at an imam weeks before the event happened, and yet they're continuing to say, oh, we don't want the NYPD in our facilities, we don't want any of this type of introspection, and just sort of leave us alone in denial. That's not a counterterrorism strategy, and it's going to bring us back not only before 9/11, but back into the 90s, which is really where our security is today.
And that's not good. All right, Dr. Jasser, thank you very much for joining us on this Easter Monday, live from Phoenix.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.